But I take you to Scott Halfmann, who is the gentleman, and we have this video posted yesterday at Infowars.com. It's now scrolled into the featured news archive of him being arrested for simply speaking on a street corner. They have the streets blocked off. He's there just speaking and handing out flyers. What a scary, tyrannical image. Sir, tell us what happened to you.
Alex, what an honor to meet you. It's fantastic to be on your show. Yeah, what happened to me is that, the 9/11 propaganda event was over, and, I was just so disgusted with how all of these poor, suffering families and are being exploited by this propaganda event, and they're, subliminally and even overtly, they're just taking all of our pain and anguish and channeling it into this one point of hatred for Muslims and hatred for these other terrorists that are always out there. My point is, what about the terrorists that are right inside of our country, and what about the fact that the World Trade Centers were taken down at controlled demolition? Doesn't that factor into the investigation at some point? How long are we going to wait around for an investigation, of this? This is obvious.
Well, Scott, I want to go over that with you, but I want to give you the floor, so I'm not going to interrupt here for about 4 or 5 minutes, and we're going to be rolling the video. It's got some profanity in the background with some of the crowd, so we can't play the audio. People can watch it at Infowars.com, but for AM and FM with FCC rules, we can't air the cuss words, even though they're low in the background. I'm going to be rolling the video while you speak about what happened to you. You've got the floor.
Okay, I was there, and the event ended, and my man Greg Lance, who just was another fellow 9/11 truther, happened to show up in the same spot at the same time. I didn't even know him. We met. I saw him. He had a shirt on, said 9/11 Truth Now. So I said, hey, this is the right guy to pass my camera off to get a record of this, because I'm going to try to reach some people down here at Ground Zero where, all the 9/11 truthers that were there to protest together were barricaded off about 4 or 5 blocks away. I mean, it was a complete police state in action at Ground Zero. And, we were surrounded on 4 sides by barricades. We were barricaded in. About maybe 3,000 people across the street on Church Street going north were barricaded in, and behind them there was another 3,000 people barricaded in, and all the 4 sides of these blocks were just like walkways for guys with machine guns, police, white shirts. There were even these guys with these with those little CIA earpieces in, with the little curly cord going back into their shirt. And I was like, what is going on here? This is such a crackdown, and nobody's. It's just a peaceful crowd of people that come there to mourn for 9/11. And then Paul Simon got up there and sang his song, and I was looking at the screen. It said he was supposed to sing "Bridge Over Troubled Water," and he decided to sing "The Sound of Silence." And I was listening to the words. I said, well, there's one of us right up there in the middle of that event. Thank God for that. Because if you listen to the words of that song, the words of the prophet are written on the subway wall and in the tenement halls. That's the 9/11 Truth Movement. That's us. We're in the tenement halls, and we're on the subway wall, and YouTube is the subway wall of 9/11, of this society right now, and that's where the truth is being spoken. So when that event ended and the screen went to, blue, and I realized that's it. It's done. The crowd is dispersing. Now I can talk because I'm not interrupting this event. I started talking in a loud voice, and I said, when are we going to be allowed to know the truth about 9/11? And I had this paper by Niels Harrit. I think that's I got the name right. About thermitic explosives found in the dust of the World Trade Center. I was a little bit nervous when I started talking, so I might have gotten the title wrong. I mean, it's not easy, just starting to speak out openly in a crowd that big where there's virtually nobody there to stand with me. But you know what? I said, there probably are a lot of people here that know the truth about 9/11, and that's where my faith is that New York City knows the truth. I've been out there talking about 9/11 truth for years, and what I find is that pretty much everybody knows by now. Pretty much everybody. There's only certain people who have a certain conflict of interest in their daily life, which keeps them from either looking at the evidence or keeps them from embracing it, if they do look at it. Like my father, who's an engineer, and he was in the World Trade Center when that plane hit. He was in Tower 2. He almost died that day, and he was able to escape. He ran through the rubble, had to climb over bodies. He had to carry a body down the staircase on his way out. We couldn't find him all day, and he's traumatized from that, and so I have a reason to be there too. And, this guy walks up to me, the guy that's, like, shouting the profanities, by the way, and being aggressive and being violent and, being, like, super confrontational. And he told me that I wasn't welcome there. Well, you know what? Freedom of speech is a constitutional right. I don't need to be welcomed there by you or anybody else. I have a right to be there. And the fact that the majority of people in that crowd, I can guarantee you, are aware of 9/11 truth and want to hear it. And we're actually stopping and listening, like, peaceably. If you look at the video carefully, you can see that some people are slowing down. One woman is shushing me, and this other guy starts exploding in rage.
And these people are clearly totally ignorant about liberty, totally ignorant about freedom, Scott, and watching the video of you be drug away by the police. If anybody should have been arrested for disorderly conduct, it's the guy that's starting a fight with you and cussing and aggressive and in your face, and he still shouldn't have been arrested. He should have just been pushed back. And the cops took you to jail. Now tell us, after you're put in the police car, after you're put in the police car, though, what did the police say anything to you? Did you tell them, shame on you, disgracing your oath of office?
Well, no, I didn't. You know why? Because the New York City Police Department is also very aware of 9/11 truth. It took me about an hour to get to a police car. They kept me there. You only see like bits and pieces of the video, but I was standing out there in the middle of a barricaded street for at least a half an hour. And during that entire time, I never stopped talking to this crowd of police officers that were around.
Good.
Me. And surprisingly, I think it's surprising to a lot of people. It wasn't surprising to me because I've been doing this for a while. The police officers wanted to know more. They were actually asking me for the websites to look up to find out.
No, I know.
More.
I've had police and firemen in masks come over and say, we know, we know. The question is then, why did they arrest you? Why did they follow that order?
I was never given a reason. I asked them that many times on the way to the police car. I asked them that when they first accosted me. I said, "Why are you doing this?" And you can't hear it on the video. I said, "Why am I being arrested?" And they didn't say anything. They just grabbed me and dragged me out. And then another guy shouted from the crowd, Greg, who was filming. He said, "Why is he being arrested?" And then I turned around again. I said, "Yeah, why am I being arrested?" And they told me to shut up a couple of times. They said. Later on, about 5 minutes later, after I was put in the police car, I asked, "So why exactly is it that I'm being arrested?" And this guy, I think it was the rookie, who said, "Because you resisted." And I'm like, "Well, resisted what? Resisted arrest? What am I being arrested for? I have a right to resist being bullied around by police officers."
You have a right to continue to speak on a street corner in America. I mean, it's so fundamental. And the fact that all over the country now, they arrest you, I mean, that's always been Americana, whether it's an old crazy guy saying the end is near, or whether it's somebody, there, advertising that there's a pizza shop down the road. This fundamental right is under assault. Have they charged you with anything?
They charged me, in the end, they finally charged me with disorderly conduct.
Yeah.
Can I just add something? The KKK is a known terrorist organization, and they march in America. They have the right to speak whenever they want to, and this is insane.
By the way, that's a good point. I noticed that they let that group go to funerals and scream at the families, but then I'm seeing more and more examples of where like mainline reasonable groups are being arrested. And so it's almost like they let the really wild people speak to make First Amendment look bad and then go after everybody else.
Right, and, oh, God, I lost my point. What was I going to say?
KKK.
Well, no, not exactly the KKK. I kind of lost my train of thought there.
You were saying they let a known terrorist group march in America because it's their First Amendment, but...
Well, I mean, it's just that I wasn't saying anything inflammatory. That's the point. But
even if you were, it's free speech. I mean, we're getting into this mode of anything that hurts somebody's feelings you can't say in America.
Oh, right. I remember what I wanted to say. They use this rubric of respecting the families as a way to create a shroud of silence that you're not supposed to break at ground zero during 9/11. Okay? If you speak about anything except what they have authorized, then you are disrespecting the families of 9/11. But you know what? I think that we're respecting the families when we demand to know the truth about who killed these people.
That's right. Look at how they wrap themselves in the first responders' heroism, but because so many of them are mad about the dust and the inside job, they're not welcome at ground zero. I mean, look, they're scared. That's why there was so much security this year. That's why they blocked people back for miles, because they know we know. And they're desperate to resurrect the myth of 9/11 to use it again, Scott.
That's right. I think they're afraid of a massive uprising in New York. And I was probably the person that they feared most at that point, a person who was among the masses. I was not barricaded off, screaming like a lunatic, where they've got you, basically in a pen, a cage, and you really look like a lunatic when you're inside of a cage protesting. So I say to the 9/11 truthers, get out of the cage, get among the masses again, get in places where you're not supposed to be, and start talking about it. Now, Luke Rudkowski, he confronted Larry Silverstein on 9/11, and I got to take my hat off to that guy. He's got some cojones, I don't
Luke's done it over and over and over and over again, the guy that says he blew up Building 7. Tell us about this latest one.
What do you mean? Tell you about what?
The latest Silverstein confrontation.
Well, it's on YouTube. He asked Larry Silverstein about some of the details of his statements, such as the one where he gave the order to pull it. And Larry Silverstein was just ridiculously evasive.
He just confronted him like a week ago. You mean he's done it again?
Was that a week ago? I thought it was today. I thought it was on
No, it might have been. He's confronting him all the time. By the way, Luke, his family gets death threats, too. Luke's got a lot of courage. Have you seen the footage of the cops and the goons coming over and saying his camera's a gun and we're going to put you in jail for terrorism?
Yeah, we're gonna lock you up. Yeah, I remember that.
Guess who's going to jail?
Right.
I know you're not a terrorist, but you're going to be in the hole for 30 days, eh?
Yeah. I'm really proud to be an American when I got people like that in this country.
Well, you need to obviously fight this. Where's the best website for folks to visit or for people to get in contact with you or lawyers or whatever? I think you should sue them for false imprisonment, violation of your constitutional rights, civil right violation. Now, you guys are having a flash mob of a media personality who's always out there whitewashing. I think it's better to announce where you're going to be and let the cops be there in mass and let it be a big circus. That's how you're going to get attention. But if you don't want to tell people who the target of your First Amendment information warfare is, that's fine. It's your choice, Scott, but give people the corner and where you're meeting in 2 days.
Okay, we're going to have basically a flash mob to confront it's going to be a peaceful confrontation with a high-level mainstream media operative who is always whitewashing 9/11, but who has on the record admitted that 9/11 does need to be reinvestigated. And we're going to meet at the corner of West 27th and 10th Avenue at between 6:30 a.m. and 7 a.m. That's the gathering time. It's right at the front of Chelsea Park on the corner of West 27th and 10th. We Are Change is going to be a part of this, and I encourage all 9/11 truthers, whether you've been at ground zero or not, if you believe in the truth, to be there, because this is going to be a peaceful confrontation, and we're going to demand that this journalist live up to their ex.
Yeah, well, it's on tape. But when she's on her own show, it's like, Noam Chomsky, tell me how Al-Qaeda's real. Okay. Hey, listen, we'll talk to you soon. God bless you, and also the great guy that shot the video to document it, Scott Halfmann. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, that was Greg Lance. Thanks to everybody for being there.
All right, thank you, brother. God bless you, man. Wonderful, wonderful news.